Peace and love, my brothers and sisters, my beautiful brothers and sisters, guys and goddesses. What's good? What's good? So today I want to talk about something that is, as a spacey Pisces I am, this Pisces season with Mercury and Pisces, I've been thinking about shit that, is very unspoken with me that I don't usually say out loud very much. And that's me just being used to doing it all the time. I don't even think about it anymore. That's talking to crystals like they're living things. It's talking to my pendants and my healing tools like they have their own consciousness, because they do. But I just never really posted a tutorial about how to connect to pendants or my tools. I've made some YouTube videos about talking telepathically with crystals and stuff, but I've never done it with things like this. So I'm gonna be talking about that today. Today, the example piece is made by my brother Colin, Ascending Aether. This is his universal entity piece with some demantoid garnet and some Herkimer diamonds, right? Little mantis face, you see that? Yeah. So we're gonna be talking about connecting to our healing tools, whether it's through metalwork or just a plain old crystal or whatever. Specifically, I make metalworking, crystal healing tools, pendants, stuff like that. So that's what I'll be using as an example for this. And specifically how to connect with any of my work, any of my friends' work, any of your own work, any crystals, anything like that. So it's really simple. First and foremost, I think about the crystals. The crystals are the main spirits, the main entities. They are projecting into this plane of existence through a very specific, aligned, crystalline lattice structure that is specifically made to transmit and transfer electric signals to you and from you. And there is a bindi, like a source consciousness at the center of everything, your heart space, so they have a heart space as well. So here's a little blue appetite for you. In the very center of this, right, there is a consciousness, there is a spirit. There is the macrocosmical spirit of this blue appetite sphere, and then there is the individual ego consciousness of this blue appetite sphere. So there's layers to that, of course. And then the metaphysical properties of the crystal. It's cool because sometimes they're very accurate and sometimes they're very inaccurate. Like, for example, black tourmaline is a grounding stone for a lot of people when you first start out. But for me, black tourmaline is a third eye stone because I'm heady as fuck and it brings me the fuck down. It forces me to ground. So it's cool. Things like that are pretty lit. So feel into the crystal. The reason I said that is the most important thing is if you connect to the crystal yourself, you might find some stuff out about that crystal that a book couldn't tell you. You might find out some stuff about that crystal that only that crystal could tell you. Black tourmaline ended up being my main telephone line to the Orion star cluster. Who would have thought? I thought black tourmaline just brought me down to my root chakra. But I wouldn't have known that if I didn't enter a deep meditation, hold that black tourmaline in my lap, and just breathe into it. Like, literally follow your breath. You know how when you're meditating and you're just focusing on your breath, you're just directing that breath to where you want it to go. So becoming so one-pointed, you're becoming your breath, realizing all you are is your breath. So then you get to the point where pretty much your breath is becoming the crystal that you're holding. And that crystal just becomes your breath and you become one, and okay, cool. And then that becomes your contact line. That becomes your ability to literally talk to that crystal. And it's not just an inanimate object anymore. It becomes alive. It becomes real. And you're able to literally dive into it. A lot of times, if I have crystals like this that have a natural little delve in them, then that will be a good little way. Anyone who's familiar with shamanic journeying, they look for a little tunnel or a hole in the room or in the ground, and they start going towards the underworld, the inner world type of thing. So same for the crystal, into the crystal. We're picturing ourselves, visualizing ourselves breathing down that hole. See my eyes roll into my head? That should show you that we're gonna literally leave and we're gonna go into the crystal. It doesn't have to be that intense though. But the whole point of it is how literal of another realm there is, tappable within every single individual crystal. Now, if we're gonna get into Lemurian crystals and stuff like that, they literally are jam-packed with memories from our past lives. Our past lives were here. We've been here before, All these things just help you tap into that shit. Yeah, I'm that guy talking about that. I'm that guy talking about the rocks. They're here to save us. Right? Listen to me. I'm serious. All right. I take myself seriously though. This is legit. So when it's talking to you or you're talking to it, you're not looking for literal words. All right, we're not doing that whole English human language thing. All right, we don't speak human here. It's visions, visuals, emotions, feelings, vibrations. Behind the eyelids, when you start to see stuff move, when you're in the dark room and you start to like the trick of the eyes, like things are moving, like those kind of things. These are the kind of things we're looking for here. We're not looking for spelled out sentences and words. Sometimes the really powerful crystals, especially the meteorites, will be able to meet you on that level, but oftentimes it's like it's unnecessary because it's just that inner knowing. We're kind of transcending the hoopla of being a human talking to other humans here. We're like just stepping into that realm of all knowing, all being, you know, we're just all pervasive here, all that stuff, you know, so that kind of thing. It's cool because these sorts of crystals were the first ones that allowed me to talk to my ancestors. My grandfather specifically was the first spirit in my past life lineage of generational karma that reached out to me through blue apatite. Blue apatite is one of my favorite crystals for a good reason. Don't worry, I'll be getting to the copper tools soon. I'm just going to touch on crystals first. Blue apatite has been one of my favorite stones for a really good reason. My first business name was Appetite for Spirit, and everyone was like, "You're spelling it wrong." I'm like, no, because it just helps you hone in on non-physicality. And it's really cool, stones like this that help you communicate with non-physical objects more. And it's cool because a non-physical object that helps you interact with it more. Like, this is specifically for spirit communication. It's perfect. Thank you, Jess. Future of Freedom. And it's cool because when you start to send that dialogue and look for it, observing your thoughts long enough to know which thoughts are yours and which ones aren't, you'll be able to be like, yeah, that's mine. Yeah, that's kind of going on its own. I'm not directing that thought process. Oh, it's from what I'm holding, because then you can kind of like feel where it's coming from. Because then if you put it from behind you, the pins and needles feeling will be from over here. Now it's here. Now it's here. Now it's here. You know what I mean? Like, you can kind of follow that. Whoa. That wind kind of got out of control there. Shit. All right, so nice. So now I'm going to fast track to containing crystals. I only started containing crystals because they were falling out of my pockets. Like, I would have like 20 crystals in my pockets at a time, and my pants would be falling down and shit. So I started wrapping them up, put them around my neck. You know, I started making it for me first. I spent a whole year just wrapping my own crystals, and it was because not only was it so I wouldn't lose them, it was also because it seemed like they wanted to have a home, like a throne. Think of it like we're gods and goddesses in the flesh. We deserve to feel like we're royalty out here, right? So these crystals, which are our guides, deserve to be encapsulated, pretty much, like enthroned. Like, I'm putting you on, I'm giving you an Iron Man suit, pretty much, is how I see it when I design these crystal containers. It's literally like a palace, like a whole kingdom for this crystal. And multiple crystals together work as teammates to do a greater good. I always ask the crystal before I even set it in the copper or silver or whatever I'm working with. I'm like, yo, what is your purpose? And like, I talk to it, I feel into it. I'm like, what are you? Why are you here? Why did you project into this reality with us? What do you really want to do for somebody? Are you even willing to sit in this metal, or do you want to be like a loose stone? And for that reason, I have so many loose stones, because there's a lot of crystals that are like, don't put me in that shit. But you can feel into it because they got their own consciousness. They got their own vibe. Same thing with plants. Like, I'm just connecting the dots here so you can know this is all, everything here has consciousness. But so you talk to this crystal and it's like, yo, I think I want to be here to help people, you know, pull their thumbs out of their ass a little bit. Like, let's say Herkimer Diamond. Herkimer Diamond's insane because it's interesting. It wants to get in, but it doesn't want to stay actually in. Like, it pops all over the place. You can try to set that shit, all of a sudden, like, you don't even have to touch it. It'll just go, pew! Oh shit, where'd it go? Like, it tricks you because it says it wants to go in, and then it doesn't want to go in. But so I'm gonna use this as an example because I can already tell I'm gonna start rambling. You start to feel into the crystals as a unit. There's a macrocosm. The microcosm is the individual crystal consciousness. The macrocosm is the entity that is created from all of the crystals. I can even say the same for this bracelet that Future for Freedom made. So the microcosm would be each individual crystal having its own consciousness, its own purpose. The macrocosm would be the purpose of the entire bracelet as one unit. So all of them are equally responsive. Every single crystal will respond to intention. Every single crystal is programmable with an individual intention. The entire bracelet as a collective unit also is programmable as one individual intention. So you can get very complicated or you can be very simple. Also, if you have like one stone that's kind of like the highlight, like for example, this one, it kind of seems to be either the eyes or this big Herkimer right there. For this guy, it seems to be either the pyrites, the garnets, or this big ass calcite. I could honestly just use the calcite as a little button, pretend I'm Ben 10 or some shit and be like, okay, I need to really transmute these emotions. Intention. And like visualize light just going and I'm like polarizing the environment, and I can watch people start to smile a little bit more, and I'm like, yeah, this is that light work, baby. Yeah, you know. For this guy, it's interesting. I usually hang it right here, right on my solar plexus, because I'm a solar plexus authority when it comes to human design. I do believe the heart chakra is like the key though. So if I'm doing a brand new intention that I've never done before, I'll take whatever pendant I'm wearing and I'll hold it against my heart. I've mostly just been wearing this though, because this is perfect. Up to my heart, and I'll just be like, all right, talk to it. Spirit of the healing tool, spirit of this pendant, I ask you, I don't tell anything to do anything for me. This is a symbiotic relationship with anything in my reality. And this is a good exercise. If you want to do this with me, you can come along and grab any pendant that you've gotten from me or anyone I know or anyone I don't know. Whatever healing tool you got, hold it against your heart chakra, because your heart chakra is your communication system. It's how you interact, how you put out energy, how you receive energy. You know how you walk into a room and you always know exactly if someone's been talking about you? The tension in the room, you feel it in your chest. You know, someone does road rage at you and they're like, fuck you, man. You feel it right in your chest, you know? How about when someone loves and they're just like, man, I just love you. You make me smile all the time. You're like, ah, you know? So it's always in your chest. You always feel it in your heart chakra. So take this pendant, put it against your heart chakra. Spirit of this pendant, thank you for being with me. I'm grateful for you being channeled into this existence for my healing purposes. I ask you to amplify my intentions. I'm going to spring some example intentions that I feel like anybody could really go for. I set the intentions to overcome overthinking. I set the intentions to overcome obsessive behavior. I set the intentions to overcome thinking about what other people think about me. I ask this piece to amplify my intention of not getting distracted from my creative flow anymore. Let's go for 5 intentions. So I'll do one more. I ask this piece to amplify my intention of movement more and getting my blood flowing and exercising more often. You know what? Let's go for 6. I'm going to do one more that I need. I ask this piece to amplify my intention of grounding down my downloads and not getting too lost in the atmosphere. Seriously. Thank you to the individual crystal consciousness of the crystals in this piece for being with me and assisting me. in these growths. Now that makes sense. And I thank the macrocosmical being of this healing tool for working with these crystals as a collective, the metal involved, whatever material involved, for working for my highest good. And now start to feel this and the heart sort of merge. They start to intertwine and become one. And this is really just becoming a guide now. This is really just becoming anchored in with the intention you set. It doesn't have to be heavy. It can be light and still have this. You just asked it to focus on specific things for you. And then you say, thank you. Aho, ashe, whatever you gotta say. And so it is, and so it is, and so it is. So mote it be, whatever, my witches, my alchemists, whatever you gotta say. And then you can drop it down. And then for me, for going on from there, unless I'm doing Reiki and I specifically want to hold it, or my upper heart or my lower heart, I like to just dangle it right there in my solar plexus. Because like I said, human design, I'm a solar plexus authority. My solar plexus goes crazy. So this is a good way for me to kind of just beam it out a little bit. And I'm a life path 8. So my most powerful chakra is my soul star chakra, way up here. And it kind of is connected because the soul star is gold, you know, solar plexus is yellow. So I kind of just pull it in from there. It projects right into the solar plexus. So that's always cool. Definitely just feel into your own design, what feels best for you, where you're more powerful at directing energy. As long as, if you're not doing the heart, whatever it is, anchor it in the heart chakra, because you'll be more powerful to set your intention. And now your vehicle is your breath. Breathe into this piece. Whatever the piece is, just breathe into it, because your breath is the activator. It's the remote control. It is your vehicle of light. You're there. You're already good. You're already good. It's already done. You're not in a reality where the intentions you set are not done. Boom! I'm already there. That's how we time jump. That's how we quantum jump. You know? And if you want to get more specific, and I'll get more specific. When I make things like the soul computer or any other quantum devices where it literally looks like a piece of technology, I make a lot of pendants that look like pieces of technology, ancient artifacts of technology. It's because they are. Every single crystal has its own intention. So for this one here, if these are eyes, then these demantoid garnets are good for piercing vision, you know? And this Herkimer diamond is always for clarity of consciousness, third eye being ripped open, clear, concise downloads, bringing them in, giving them purpose. Because like Herkimer diamond's really good for one thing, and that's channeling, but it doesn't channel unless it knows you need to channel it. And that's why it's so difficult to set Herkimer diamonds, is because that Herkimer diamond is so concentrated that it's like a shock that it goes through with the metal. So when you finally got that fastened down into the piece, it's like a battery. It's like whum, whum, whum. So you can use a Herkimer diamond, for example, and this is all an example because that's literally what is in front of me. You can use that to a battery pack for something that you need more help with. Like, what needs to be more active right now? All right, I'm going to plug this battery into my willpower to create more. Since I just set an intention to, as an example, to get rid of distractions from my creative flow, I'm going to be like, okay, so that big Herkimer diamond right there, I'm going to think about things that distract me from my creative flow. Let's think. Food. Whenever I feel like I'm getting too carried away, I'll notice that, like with my downloads, I'll notice that I go to eat compulsively just to cope with the energy. Getting too ungrounded, I need to shove something in my mouth. That's a distraction. So I'll put that one into that big Herkimer diamond. My phone. Like, I know I don't like being online, but I catch myself scrolling. That phone's a distraction. I'll put that into the Herkimer diamond. You know, what else we got? Oh, shit. Well, that's not necessarily... Okay, yeah, you know what? I thought about it. I'll be honest about it. YouTube. because I love these documentaries. But sometimes I need some silence. Sometimes I just need to work in silence, so I'll put YouTube in there because it's so easy to just put on next autoplay on, you know what I mean? Getting in people's cars and letting them just go. I need to be able to say no to chilling if I know I got shit to do. That's a distraction sometimes. I'll put that in there. Because then all of a sudden there's 5 more stops than you told me there were going to be. So I'm putting that in the Herkimer Diamond. That can be a distraction. Okay. What's another one? I want to go for 5. There are 5 distractions in my life. What's another one? I guess I can't think of it. Maybe I just refuse to accept that I'm distracted a lot. Alright, so those 4 right there in that Herkimer Diamond. So now if these 2 come out, and these are the pincers, right, of the mouth, and this represents like throat chakra, this represents expression right there around the mouth. So what I'm gonna do is use those for my blockages to express my creative flow now, right? So what are 2 main blockages in my creative flow? Overthinking the flow and not letting it just come out of my hands. What keeps me from getting in the flow state? So I'm holding the distractions from the flow state right here. So now I'm dropping into the flow state. What could I further create for myself now that the distractions are gone to keep myself from dropping into that flow state? Okay. Overthinking, trying to think too much about what I'm going to do, trying to let my thoughts create it rather than just letting it channel out of my hands. That's a very specific one for me. I don't know if that applies to everyone else, but I'm gonna put that one right in there. Cool. And then for this one, what's another thing that keeps me from dropping further into a flow state? Self-doubts. Allowing shadows to come up as the flow state comes through, and then letting myself feel heavy. I do acknowledge that happens sometimes, because flow states are really good to allow us to acknowledge our shadows and stuff we need to work on. So I'm gonna put that one right in there so that I can allow my shadows to flow through, out, acknowledge them, alchemize them, let them go, keep flowing. Awesome. So now I'm gonna go to the Garnets. Not necessarily related. I mean, everything's related, but on a different note from creative flow. What was another thing I was thinking about that I wanted help with, that I was setting an example of? See, I don't even remember what my examples were. Oh my god, that's funny as hell. Alright, well, I'll just go with it, because there's always something I can set as an intention. So for these demantoid garnets, since they're the eyes, I'm going to go for clear sight, right? Clear sight, clear-sightedness. So I asked these demantoid garnets to allow me to see clearer in things that it's easy for me to look through. Ooh! Anyone who's a Pisces knows how easy it is to live with rose-colored goggles. Just look through the problem, pretend it's not there. Even though we're living in toxic situations. It doesn't need to be like that toxic, but it's just the point that it's easy to just see through things that could be addressed, you know? So I asked these demantoid garnets to give me that sight to see through all obstacles and really just see the truth of the matter in the moment before it has to become anything, and give me the clearest course of action, even if it's no action. Just always know what must be done. Perfect. Thank you. And all of these are presented, when I'm thinking about these and speaking them out loud, I present them as questions in my mind in a way that's not forcing it into the crystal, but it's kind of gently presenting them to the crystal. And it's very rare that a crystal says no. So it's cool to be able to be like gently offering this intention, and pretty much all the time the crystal will just take it and be like, thank you for offering this to me. I am grateful to support this intention. You know, like it's usually like that. And then these demantoid garnets here, kind of like the jawline, so I'll call that like the lymph nodes, like the little part of the facial structure, you know. So structure. So these demantoid garnets are the focal points for structure. So let me think about structure right now. So now I'll present to these demantoid garnets an intention of deeper structure in my life, I've already done so much to organize my business and my personal life and my routine. So I asked these demantoid garnets to reinforce my structure even more so, make me feel empowered. Please help me to feel empowered in my structure more so I can know if I've got too much structure, I need to let myself flow a little bit more. Where in my life do I need more structure? I'm grateful for you. Thank you for helping me flow. Perfect. And now I can talk to the entire universal entity piece, the entire thing, and just be like, okay, thank you to this piece, the full entire macrocosmical being of this piece, for being with me. And I'm grateful for you coming into my field. And I ask you to help me channel greater, but in a way that's not making me too ungrounded. Please give me the strength to ground my downloads down so I'm not too heady, but I'm not necessarily too physical, too, like very, very balanced. Help me to find balance. Help me to communicate this very alien embodiment of mine a little bit better. Help me understand how to bring these visions to the world in ways that I couldn't even fathom. Help me with patience. Help me with kindness. And help me to see anywhere in my life where I could use more gratitude. Oh, gracias. And then after that, again against the heart, reverberate it. Yeah. I like to kiss my pieces. And that's usually how I do it. And I know it can be long and drawn out. It can also be very simple like it was earlier in the video. How long are we at? Oh my God, it's almost 30 minutes. Yeah. But that's how it is. I'm grateful for anyone who stuck this long in the video, because it's cool to really take that long with a crystal though. Like, you may hit the 30-minute mark on your own and just be like, wow, I just talked to a stone for 30 minutes. Am I crazy or am I onto something? But like, it's cool though, because it works. It 100% works. And it's so chill to just know that this is a living entity around my neck. I'm not chaining myself down. I'm literally just wearing a friend on me. And it chose to be channeled into our physicality through our divine craftsmanship so that it can help us. And I believe that every piece I create, every piece my friends create, is literally for somebody to work on themselves and learn how to show up more in this world. And I hope that the examples that I just gave on setting intentions with these pieces, programming them, whatever you want to call it. If you're hip with Brother Gaia and his sucker punches, do the exact same thing with the sucker punches. Do the exact same thing with Organite, with tensor rings. The 333 megahertz tensor ring, the sound healing tensor ring, you literally speak your intentions through it. It changes the color of sound. Things like that. Things like that. Literally all of this technology is intention responsive. We're sliding deeper into that reality where our thoughts are instantaneously manifesting. So it's time for us to start to acquire tools that can teach us how to be more disciplined. There was a time, I'm glad my mind's going here. There was a time when I was really first coming into awareness of OBEs, out-of-body experiences, and there's a dude at an OBE facility, kind of a psyop-y kind of facility, but like I like the information they had. I'm really good at pulling information even if I don't like the person it's coming from. And I think it was Leland something, I don't even know. And he was saying, if you're standing in an instantaneously thought-reactive reality, say that again, I stuttered. If you're standing in an instantaneously thought-reactive reality, who do you want to be standing next to? And thus you understand why we're here in the physical where things are slowed down. Because it's a bunch of people in here overthinking like shit and really being led by this frequency manipulation going on in this world right now. You want to be standing next to someone who takes these frequencies and just snowballs them in their mind and creates a reality that's chaos? Or do you want to be standing next to someone who doesn't implode the entire system on itself in less than a second. Someone who observes all the thoughts and decides with wisdom which ones I will select to bring into the physical. That's a good one. That's a good question. So that's what pieces like this are for. That's what pieces like this are for. And that's why setting intentions with them are even more important, because then that gives you practice to interact with the piece a little bit more. Not just wear it and be like, oh, that feels good. You know, okay, cool. Now it feels good. Now give it something. See what it gives you. Form a relationship with it, because this is just a portal. All my pieces are portals. They're portals to another dimension. What dimension? It's up to you. Alright, cool. I'm all set. Thank you for sticking through. I love you all. DM me with any questions anytime. Video call me with questions anytime. I don't care. I love y'all. Appreciate you. Hit up my friends. Hit up anybody that makes dope jewelry, especially if I know them. Everyone here is awesome. This community is great. Love you all. Peace and love.